So that's a vibe. I enjoy talking with you. I usually don't talk more than 5 minutes over the phone unless it's for work. I could talk with you for 10. That's already a vibe. A real tip. Before you get to the interview, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just put your music, Rolling Stones, whatever it is that you enjoy listening to, shout, sing, dance, do nothing, meaning blow up some steam, right? Bring that confidence up and then get into the interview. It will be completely different. So do you have any questions for me, Stefan? So when they ask me, yes, what's your biggest challenge? And I'm like, yes, of course, because that's what every YouTuber who's giving you tips about interview told you to ask, right? Actually, a question that I did enjoy from someone that asked us was,
landing a great job opportunity is sometimes very challenging. Breaking into tech and getting hired as a sales rep can be even harder. When I was applying to my first sales jobs, I also struggled with the unknown. What to expect, what the tech industry was like, and how do I break in? After years of being an SDR myself, I've decided to build something I wish I had in the beginning. My name is Stefan, and in the SDR Hire podcast, I interview successful SDRs and salespeople who share their stories straight from the trenches. Learn how they got their first job offers, how they succeed every day in their roles, and what makes them stand out in their organizations. We all have what it takes. We just need someone to remind us of the opportunity and give us a better chance for success. Let's get your next SDR gig. Hey, welcome back to the SDR Hire podcast. I'm your host, Stefan, and if you're new to the channel, this is a place where you can learn from top producing salespeople what it's like working in tech sales, how do you break in, what do sales leaders look for, and how to succeed as an SDR. And today, I'm chatting with Yair, a BDR manager at a company called Checkpoint. After a year of being a BDR for the EMEA region, Yair has been promoted to build an international BDR team basically from scratch for the EMEA and APAC regions. This is a unique opportunity for everybody listening to learn directly from someone who's been in those BDR shoes and is now building a team of their own. So, Yair, it's great to have you on.
thank you. Really a pleasure to be with you, Stefan. I'm excited too.
Yeah, me too. I was glad that you had that post on LinkedIn, and that's kind of how we came across each other. We can talk about it later, but I would love to start this with just, how did you end up in sales or in tech sales in the first place?
I believe sales, overall, I was born into sales. I mean, my parents are both business owners. So even when I was either 15 or 16 in Argentina, I was already trying to export into China or import things from Uruguay to Argentina. So I was always into it. Of course, life brings you closer.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you basically, from a very small age, early age, you were involved with sales, with business. That's awesome. How come you didn't go the entrepreneurship route with your parents?
That's a great question. Actually, back then I tried, but I left the country where they lived in Argentina to come to Israel when I was 18. So my whole adult life, so to say, was already in Israel as a loner. Found my own path.
That's actually pretty cool. I always kind of regret to an extent that I didn't get introduced to entrepreneurship earlier in my life because my parents have not been, those types of personalities. So I didn't have really an example that's actually a possibility. So it took me quite a while to realize that that's actually something that I want to pursue in my life. But so yeah,
in my case, it was really the other way around. Kind of,
yeah.
Am I really gonna be an employee? I was all with the mindset of being a business owner. Do I want to get there?
And so, how did you come across tech sales? Is Checkpoint your first tech tech sales gig, or did you work somewhere before?
It depends on how you define tech. Actually, I was with marketing, sales, advertising. I was in financials for some time, which I really, really loved. Selling a stock market, account management within the stock market, learning programs. That was really my passion for a while. And then it was time to move on. And when I found my new home in Checkpoint, it was really amazing.
Wow, I love it. Okay, awesome. So, real quick, what is actually Checkpoint? What kind of product or service is it? And it seems like a global company, so maybe you can walk us through the company a little bit.
Yes, it is. I'm gonna make it like interview the way they do it when I ask to my interview. You're right. So Checkpoint is a gigantic cybersecurity company that was founded 30 years or so ago. It was well known for the firewalls, etc., etc. Right now, it provides all kind of cybersecurity solutions. It's really, I believe, top notch for the market. Of course, operating in every single continent, countries, etc. So we're really glad and growing.
Very nice. Very nice. Is it an Israel company?
The headquarters is here and in California, but we have buildings or offices in a bunch of different countries: Spain, Italy, France, UK, of course, in Asia too. So pretty much everywhere.
Got it. Got it. What is the product that you're kind of selling, and like what's the market that you're selling into?
Great. We have lots of different cyber solutions. The one that I'm specializing on, it's email security, email and collaboration, which will include, let's say, Teams, Slack, OneDrive, ShareDrive, etc. But of course, within Checkpoint, that's only one division. You have solutions for absolutely everything, meaning one of the leitmotifs will be secure your everything with Checkpoint, which is really true. And regarding the market, it's quite broad since we sell for public companies the same as for like Fortune 100, 500, etc. If for the same in the UK, for public, governmental, etc. healthcare. So it's really very much whomever needs cybersecurity, which I would say it's everyone right now.
Yeah. Nice. I'm curious. I've never sold cybersecurity. I just have an idea how it might look like, but I'm just curious, like how do you, position it? Like, I don't know, if you're on a sales call or something like that, how do you position it? Like, do you tell them, hey, have you heard about this recent hack? And then you kind of go into the dangers of not being secured properly, or like do you position more towards like, hey, I know that you're using this tool, but mine is better because.
Great question. It will really depend. I'll tell you what. When I was starting and getting into the market, I was asked one of my interview questions that I was asked myself back then was, how do you plan to break into tech when you're not really a technical person? Right? I mean, you will not have the answers they're waiting for. And my answer was clearly, that's 100% right, but I could not care less because I'm a bridge builder. I communicate with people. We're all human beings. We're trying to learn. I will generate curiosity. I will get people engaged. And of course, eventually I will learn, which is very much what I did. I mean, even nowadays when I'm in calls with engineers, in very lots of cases, they think I really know what I'm talking about.
And yet you have no clue. Oh, come on,
No,
you know,
I'm
you know.
kidding. I'm just
Yeah. Okay, that sounds fun. That sounds actually pretty fun. That was just curious because like I've never had the chance to, so what's who is the buyer? Who's the target persona? It's like the CISOs, I'm assuming, like information security people, or is it more like, I don't know, like IT folks? I don't know.
so it really varies depending on the company because of course different company size will have different ideal persona, but overall of course it will be either CISO, IT director, if there's somebody specific or for cybersecurity, those would be the usual names, the roles that we're targeting. But again, in many companies you have more specific or less specific. It will depend.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And I mean, I'm asking these questions more towards the idea of like, you basically got hired and you single-handedly did all of this, like you figured the sales playbook. I mean, obviously you have other colleagues in different parts of the world, but like for this region, for the EMEA region, you were solo.
One of the things that actually got me super excited and made helped me decide to take the opportunity was the fact that, as you said, we already had a great team in the US, in Canada, actually not true, in the US for sure, a big team. We had already a sales playbook, etc. But in EMEA, it was Yair. Yair is EMEA. Any opportunity EMEA related, it's gonna be Yair. So on the one hand, at first I started doing the regular BDR job, cold calling, emailing, looking for things to struggle and drive. But the amazing thing about us right now is that we have both. We have the drive and the growth of a startup. On the other hand, all the resources of Checkpoint, which is really a gigantic company.
How
So
big?
how big? I believe we have between 6 to 7,000 employees today
That's insane.
worldwide.
Yeah, that's really huge. By the way, it's a public company, right?
It's a public. It was in Nasdaq up until a year ago.
Pretty good. Okay, I should have done my homework. I'm gonna make sure. I usually
If I
don't
have the
talk with.
answers, it,
No. I should have done a bit more homework and like just making sure I know what's the revenue of the company, what's the how much is it's trading for right now, and that it is listed on Nasdaq. But anyway, doesn't matter.
it's
Next
about
time.
to bring Q4 results today, actually. So good
Boom.
news,
Okay.
hopefully.
Hopefully. What's the state of cybersecurity in general right now? I'm just curious, like overall, especially taking into consideration that, like, the economics are kind of in the downturn, and there's this huge fear of recession and inflation and all of that. What's the outlook of the cybersecurity industry?
So recession slash crisis is not really, of course, it affects everyone, every industry suffering. We do see lots of cyber startups that are going down or sinking or depending on where they were. Many of them actually were public and a few of them were turned private because of that. Right now, I believe that it's one of the most safest environment to be in. I mean, one of the reasons of this crisis is wars, Middle East, wars in Europe, etc., etc. So that, of course, generates more and more cyber threats coming on. So the industry is relatively thriving, I would even say.
Hmm. And that makes a ton of sense. Okay. I'll ask you more about the growth of the industry and like what you guys are doing in comparison. What I'm curious right now is just what was you mentioned your interview process. What was your interview process like for Checkpoint? How did you come across that opportunity? And then like what was the interview like?
So I already had my door open. I was looking for something if I find the suitable opportunity. Once I reached the checkpoint, of course, I really liked the company. Once I had my first interview with my manager, I fall in love with her. So it really made it easier for me. And up to today, I'm still in love with her. He's really, when you have somebody that you trust, that you feel that you're trying to grow together, it helps. It supports. It encourages you to grow. So that's really helpful.
Nice. Can we do a shout out to your manager?
Yes, Kelly Lichtenberger from
Okay, Kelly.
Connecticut. Yep. So that was my
Amazing.
first
Okay.
interview. I'm all for enjoy what you're going to do. Anywhere, whatever it is that you do, the more you enjoy it, the better you will become at it. That's a fact. Could be sports, could be sales, could be anything else in life.
I love
So
it.
I really enjoy and love what I do.
Hmm. Yeah, and I can tell. I mean, everybody I think can tell you're really passionate when you're talking about sales and how you use your curiosity to break in and put yourself in a spot where you can win. So that's pretty cool and inspiring. How did you initially come across the job? Like, did you find it listed, or did you get introduced to it by a recruiter? Like, how did that look like?
Nope, actually, it was regular, old fashioned LinkedIn applying. Of course, now with my experience today, I might have done some things differently, but old fashioned applying, having fun, enjoying the conversation, selling yourself, getting out of your comfort zone.
How long did it take to get the offer on the table?
I don't remember. A few weeks, maybe? It wasn't too long, that's
Mm,
for sure.
that's cool. That's cool. And do you remember how it looked like? So the first meeting was with interview was with Kelly, right? And
Actually, I do,
then
yes. The first one
okay,
was with Kelly, that's right. Then I was with an account manager from the company, somebody that was about to get promoted or just got promoted. We spoke about life. With her, it was more professional. And with him, I remember we were speaking about how I like boxing. I used to box for a while. The hobbies that you have and how you bring these transferable skills and how you use them into your job. I believe right now, even when I'm interviewing, the energy that you feel from the other side, together with the preparation, of course, and the skills, but the vibes are key. Without that, there's nothing. It's like even when I read the CV to ask the right person and to be realistic with the person, if I don't feel the vibes, I'm sorry, you're not gonna make it.
mm, I love the fact that you mentioned vibes. It's probably the hardest thing to explain. I've felt it myself, both when I was applying for jobs as well as when I was doing the interviews for candidates, and like it's a hard thing to explain. So maybe you can help me with it. But like, can you kind of describe what that vibe feels like?
That's a nice question. The vibe feels like I'm gonna just transition into something else, but I hope you'll get the idea. If you are new, I'm married with kids, so I can use this example. If you are in a bar and you have a band, there are ladies or gentlemen, and you feel you enjoy the conversation, this is something. We're having a moment together. So that's a vibe. It's I enjoy talking with you. I usually don't talk more than 5 minutes over the phone unless it's for work. I could talk with you for 10. That's already a vibe.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That kind of sounds just about right. And I feel the same way. There's just people who I can just vibe with or just chat, and it feels like it's not, forced. And then there's people that just it's like, okay, let's just get this over with and we're done.
Like we need
And
to
so
do it, but it's gonna be cold. Exactly.
exactly. So what do you do with the ones that are actually cold? Like when you're interviewing folks, like the ones that are kind of cold, what do you do with them?
Up to now, most of the interviews I'm taking together with Kelly actually. We're both interviewing just to speed up the process. And it's super funny because within the first 5 to 10 minutes, we're already in Slack, like, not relevant. Can you get me out of here? Can you take it? You feel it. I mean, it's like, please kill me. Okay, but you're not gonna, of course, make the other side feel that. So you're gonna be kind and polite up until the end. In some cases, I do try to advise them. For instance, if you're a lawyer and you're trying to get into the industry, I'm gonna ask you why. Why do you think this is the best for you? I mean, I'm gonna try to be the advisor, the good guy.
Yeah, that's very noble. That's really cool. Okay, pretty cool. I want to get back to this part, but just let's wrap up the previous topic,
Oh,
which was
sorry. Before we do that, there's one tip that I really do want to share. It's something that worked for me, and in a few of the times that I was interviewing, I was, if this guy would have done that properly. A real tip: before you get into an interview, and this will actually speak about the bias you mentioned before. Before you get to the interview, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just put your music, Rolling Stones, whatever it is that you enjoy listening to, shout, sing, dance, do nothing, meaning blow up some steam, right? Bring that confidence up, and then get into the interview. It will be completely different.
okay. Okay, that's a good one. I've never done that myself. I think I would feel like a little bit stupid, just because like, oh, I have to jump around. But I
You could do
actually think
push ups, you could do whatever, but you get the idea.
yeah, exactly. The idea of it, I think, is amazing because you, like you said, you blow off some steam. You know, those butterflies in your stomach tend to kind of disappear when your blood starts pumping like faster. So that's a really good one. Do you do those kinds of things?
I don't anymore, luckily. But yeah, I did it for a while and it's really good. I like it. I
Amazing.
mean,
I
that's coming
used to.
prepared. It's part of coming
Totally.
prepared.
Totally. I agree. I agree so much. For example, I'm a nerd. I'm like I like being prepared very much. I take notes. I do a lot of research, whatnot. But I remember when I used to like compete on international case study competitions for the business school, whatever. Um, I would try to do some kind of activities to just like because I was so nervous. Like my heart would just try to like jump out of my chest. So I would do something like that, like just walk around real fast, or I don't know, do some push-ups or something like that, just to kind of get that stress out. So I think you're totally on point there, and this was an actual great advice that people can actually use.
I
It's
hope so.
actionable. Yep, exactly. Okay, so do you have any more advice on like being nervous when it's time for a big interview or a big sales pitch? Like, do you get nervous still?
I personally have always been a fan, unlike you, of exams and tests. I love them everywhere. I mean, I love to be tested. I like to be out of my comfort zone. As I said, I used to box, and I was again quite young. I was like 17, boxing with 26-year-old guys. So I was definitely under, right? My chances were low. but I loved it. Then I got into religious exams, like different rabbi tests, etc. I loved it. I used to do like the regular guy learns the topic within 4 months. So I used to do two at a time, 4 months. So while he does one, I was doing why? Because I love it again. I enjoyed it.
Okay, so it sounds like you extremely enjoy being challenged and just, pushing yourself through the limits.
That's definitely it. Yep.
Nice. Okay, that's really cool. So real quick, what did you like regarding your interview? Initially when you were starting with Checkpoint. So it was pretty quick. You had a couple of conversations. Did you do any, I don't know, like cold calling exercises, or did you have to write up a cold email or something?
Nope. Actually, I do know of different companies that I either applied or I'm aware of. They do it that way. It really depends on the case when that will be relevant or just a waste of time. For instance, there was a company that asked me to write this email or a cadence or whatnot. It's nice. I mean, again, I enjoyed it because I wanted to be challenged or learn about the company, learn about the clients, etc. But it's not usual. I mean, once you get the proper training from the company, they should be able to enable you to do that properly. The only thing I'm looking for, if I were to do such a thing, is again the feeling, how you want to do it, how you care. That when you ask a question, you really want to know the answer, not just asking because I'm supposed to. That's also something that I feel in interviews. When you pass them the ball over to them, so do you have any questions for me, Stefan? So when they ask me, yes, what's your biggest challenge? And I'm like, yes, of course, because that's what every YouTuber who's giving you tips about interview told you to ask, right?
Oh, okay. What would you suggest people to ask? Or what would you ask if you were in their shoes?
It will depend on the role. If we're talking about an SDR, attainment it's important. The resources available from the company are important. How realistic your quota will be, and again, how will you actually guys help me to get there? I'm gonna do my best. How can you support me? What do you actually? A question that I did enjoy from someone that asked us was, how would I look like 6 months from now being the best SDR on your team? Like, what would I need to get there? That's a real question.
That's really cool. What's the answer though?
Okay, the answer was that's a great question, actually. So, of course, learning, caring, being able to communicate good, because again, since we're talking about the gigantic cybersecurity companies, not only about cold call, we do have partners in every country, distributors in every country, local offices in every country. So if you manage to leverage those connections from your division within the broader company, it will definitely help you open so many doors. And that's 100% one of the things that brought me to where I am today.
Networking inside the company and out. I love it. Very cool. Yeah, awesome. So you got the job pretty quickly. It was a very, I would say, an experience that you enjoyed very much, like getting there. And then you had a big challenge, right? You were the only one doing EMEA. Yair was EMEA. How did that look like? You spent as a BDR at least a year, I think, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so what did that look like? Like how did the first few months look like, and how did you transition towards getting promoted? That's, I think, a very interesting topic.
It is indeed. So the job itself, I was doing everything, but I loved it. So it was amazing. You know what? When you're working 12 hours, if you were to be drunk in a bar somewhere and you're dancing all night long, if that's what you enjoy, or being a nerd, I don't know, whatever it is on the other side, you enjoy it, so that's totally fine. You will not get tired of it. So overworking for me and not taking 1 day vacation, I never felt like, oh, poor me, I'm working so hard. Like I was taking initiatives everywhere, getting in touch with people, with the country managers from the different countries we work with different partners, and finding out how can I support you? Because once I support you, we both grow together, right? So besides the hitting or overachieving quota, I'm quite sure that one of the things that brought me to the promotion was the fact that I was already super connected within the bigger company, Like security engineers were sure I was an engineer. Account managers were sure I was an account manager. Country managers were like, who's this guy who's always talking to me as a peer? Don't be afraid. Do not be super snob, but just talk. Be a human being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, okay, let me recap. You basically went in and you were like, okay, I'm gonna do this. You didn't really have any fear of like talking to people inside the company. You networked basically across the board with country managers, with account managers, with engineers. That's so cool, dude. Like I'm listening what you're saying. I'm like, that's really amazing. No wonder you got promoted real quick. But obviously, I think a huge part of all of that was the fact that you were actually really hitting your quota consistently, right? So was there anything specific you were doing to make sure you're hitting that quota? Like, were you doing just outbound or was it also inbound? What did that look like?
Of course, we do have right now the marketing department is even getting bigger and working more with in collaboration with us, so that's amazing. We do have inbound, but the way you're measured, of course, it's about outbound. So basically, the answer would be if I'm one human being, I can only do so many things. I mean, there's a limit. But if I build an army of people working for me, between quotes, sky's the limit. So once I'm interconnected with so many people within the company, doing similar roles as mine, or we have shared quotas, etc., we're working together. One of the things that really helped me was that usually SDRs do not pitch the demo. They simply book the meeting and sayonara. On my end, since there was also a transition, actually when I started, we didn't even have within my division an account executive in Europe. There was only the guy in the US. So the account executive in Europe got hired after myself. And then he was ready for 2 months and he left and another one came over, which means that within that transition process, I was super able to take demos on my own. I learned how to do proper discovery calls. I learned how to explain the solution, how to hear and feel what's on the other side, what objections you might have, even if you did not say them to me, or try to understand if you are considering some of our competitors. Some cases you would prefer not to tell me who, correct? I mean, it will really depend. But I will know what to ask in order to know who you might be considering in order to send you that specific information. It's really to play smart.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So okay, that's a huge like, it's a strategy, man. It's like you were really all over the place. It's really inspiring. How many things you were doing and the amount of networking you were doing to make sure you hit that those numbers. So okay, so okay. You're a self-taught account executive. So what happened when the new guy came over after you already kind of became an account executive who was also doing a BDR role?
That's a great question. At first, it was quite annoying, of course. I mean, of course, I was working towards, not because of the promotion itself, but I'm already doing half the role, so to say. So, who better than myself, right? And I already have the internal connections. I was already pitching myself to get into that position. But then again, I do trust, and I did trust my manager all over the road. So, at every stage, even when I never push it, but yes, of course. So what's next for us? Where are we heading? So I always knew that I was working with someone that cares about me. So that really helps you relax, and you're not like, so what should I do next to get that promotion? Should I, you know what I mean? Trying to do strategies. So there was even a point where I told her, listen, Kelly, I trust you. I'm gonna leave that on you. Whatever it is, whenever it is, whenever the relevant position comes up, you know I'm here. But please, I don't want to feel that I need to fight for it. And here we are.
Wow, that's an awesome manager. Okay, another shout out to Kelly again, I guess. Um, that's totally awesome. Well, the fact that you were able to, you know, well, take a step back and not let your kind of your ego kind of go on a rampage, but rather just like have trust in the process and that that somebody has your back, that's really a powerful message.
But it was
And,
annoying. I mean, nobody's gonna
no,
argue on the fact that it's hard to take. Like, I'm
of course.
here, I'm doing, and I need to pass over all my connections that I built up from scratch to somebody else. It's hard.
Definitely. But then again, I would say that you're in an even better position right now than you would have been otherwise as an AE, right?
Possibly. Here's plus. Right now, I really enjoy working with that AE. Since we're already talking about that, we work together. The smaller accounts, he lets me take care of it. When he's in PTO, even the bigger accounts, depending on double books, etc., we work together. So it was
That's
really
really
helpful
awesome.
once we
Yeah.
got there.
Okay. Okay. Nice. But what? Here's the thing, and this is a common topic in these interviews and conversations. Is like AE versus management versus a combination versus senior SDR and stuff like that. So I assume a role opened up for something like this that you're doing right now, which is like a BDR, like head of business development or like a BDR manager for the EMEA region, right? EMEA and APAC.
Officially, we invented the role. I mean, it was not there. We had Kelly taking all over, and then she divided the team leader who was already in the States, remains as a team leader. He took all the SDR that were already under his team leadership, and I'm building now with her, hopefully, the EMEA and APAC region.
Okay, there we go. So, what is your now that we're into this topic, which is kind of what I was mostly excited about to talk to you? What steps are you taking? What does it look like today? So, I assume you're still doing a little bit of prospecting. I assume you're still taking some calls and closing some business. But like, how does that SDR team building look like right now?
Lots of interviewing, lots of not always the most relevant meetings. That's why I keep trying to, just for my own sake, hit my quota. Like the regular SDR quota, I try to stick to it and maintain it to to be a leader with a role. How do you say it? The
Okay,
word escape me.
you lead by
A role
example, I
model.
assume.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there we
To
go.
lead by
Yeah.
example. I try. I
And
mean, right now I can't do that. Eventually, hopefully, we will get to a point where that will become impossible, and I'm looking forward to that. But right now that
Mhm.
it's doable, it's nice to be able to.
Well, that's a great problem to have, I would say. Like not being able to hit quota because you are just busy
Your
helping
team
other people
became
hit.
so exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay, that's pretty cool. So were you able to bring somebody on board already, or are you still playing solo?
We are trying to close them all together. So we do the onboarding again. Doesn't necessarily need to be all together, but the more together it is, the way you're using your energies more efficiently. That's basically it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, cool. Um, well, I guess we're kind of getting to the end, but I'm just curious. Like, you said you still have a quota. Like, how long do you think that's gonna last for?
So officially, I do not have a quota. That's actually the answer. I do not, but I try to keep bring myself the quota of the regular SDR just
Yeah,
for fun, so to say.
yeah. Dude, you're just, I think you're built differently simply because there's just so many people are can't wait to get out of the SDR role simply because it is hard. It's a lot of pressure. It's, you have to constantly be on top of your game and all of that. But it seems like you just, brush it off and you just don't even feel it.
If you learn to enjoy it, it will help you definitely become way better. And whichever role you go next, you will be able. I mean, everybody talks, even on LinkedIn, if you take a look, the SDR skills and to use them, even to be an entrepreneur with SDR skills, to be a dev director with SDR skills, etc. That is 100% real, but only if you actually build those skills while you were at the role. It's not like a given that you will get them, for sure not.
Yeah, yeah, you got to work for them.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, 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 totally. Okay, cool. Um, one more thing that I wanted to kind of ask you, and I know we're probably getting to the end of like how much time you wanna chat. It seems like you have a limit of like.
You convinced me to take an hour, so for now we're stump chilling. It's fine.
Okay, no, I don't think we're gonna take the whole hour, but okay, well, I was just that's pretty cool. Can you tell me more about the relationship with your manager, but more in a sense of you know where does her, like, how do you guys organize working together? How much is in your, let's say, jurisdiction, um and how much is like, does she say, hey, Yair, we got to do this, and then you go and execute in any way you want? Or is it like, how does that relationship look like?
We are quite independent in that I am at least definitely quite independent. Even when I do things that are not abiding to the law, I let her know. I do try to let her know this is not the way it's supposed to be, but it works for me. I know why I'm doing it this way. Please, for now, let me keep my style. The one thing that actually it's interesting because I don't know if worried, but I will need to learn is that I was never reprimanded, if that's the correct word, by my manager. So whenever, and that's life, you will have an SDR or somebody reporting to you that you will have issues with. It happens. I will need to properly learn how to bring line to, you
Okay,
got the
no,
idea.
I got you. I got you. So you're a guy who's, who you walk the line. You're kind of, at the edge of like what's, at the edge of like obedience, and like, you do you and you bring results. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how you kind of tame that part of yourself. And on the other hand, when you kind of you're
The
gonna be managing.
constructive, and
Well, exactly. With the team that you're building, will you allow others to, like, behave similarly how you did, or is it gonna be more like, hey, this is how we do things, and like,
great questions. We'll see.
we'll see. We'll see. That's totally no. I can't wait. I'm really excited to see how that's gonna turn out. But speaking of new colleagues, um, the cybersecurity industry is growing. You guys are growing. I've seen a bunch of open roles there. So, do you want to take the opportunity to kind of promote where you're hiring, how you're hiring, and maybe somebody from the audience can pick it up and apply?
Sure. So from my team specifically, we're looking to add new SDRs in Germany, in the UK, in Spain. There was someone either from the Nordics that we are thinking about moving it somewhere else, and there was one in Israel. Hopefully, we'll get there really, really soon. We're working on it. But more than happy to get to meet new people. I mean, from what I was told, and this is a nice one actually, since you're speaking about the growth, I was told this year we're doubling the group, the team. The idea is to double it again for next year. That's the plan. So definitely, it's always good to have good people handy.
Exactly. That's why we're here. Awesome, huh? I mean, it just goes to show that cybersecurity is going to be more than needed in the following period. At least that's what the management of the company thinks. Obviously, considering the fact that they are hiring so much,
And
and I've
our
seen there's
solution is really, really the best out there today.
exactly, there we go. I mean, you can do a plug here and just explain what the solution does in more detail if you'd like, but I can see that it's
Yeah.
it's 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 high quality. Not all good. All good. Okay. So you're basically okay. So you're basically overseeing the whole EMEA region, and obviously you're going to be. So are you hiring as well for, like, where are you hiring
Yeah,
for
we
the
do have,
APAC
sorry,
region?
we do have, we're going to start with Australia. Probably the next one will be India or somewhere. We do have a rep in Singapore. Right now, since I have already built most of the network for Europe, Africa, so my focus will probably 70-30 or even 80-20 at first. Up until I have EMEA taken care of, then I will put way more of my time to develop Asia.
All right. Okay. Okay. That's cool. Good. Okay. I would like us to proceed. I want to check my questions and make sure I don't miss anything. But okay. we actually covered one of the questions. If you were in an interview right now, what questions would you ask? I think we really covered that one. But what is a message that you would send out to future SDRs, considering that you were one relatively a short while ago?
I am one. That's okay. I'm fine.
Yeah, but it's a huge difference where you are right now versus somebody who's just coming into the role.
Yeah, that's right. Correct.
So what would be your message to somebody like that?
You're talking about the interview process. You're talking about how to get the job done.
I would say probably how to succeed in the best way as an SDR to somebody who is just coming into the role.
Of course, you need to use all tools at disposal. I mean, all the data providers, all the, I don't know, different callers that you might have out there, auto dialers, etc. There are a bunch of tools out there, but the main thing is keep it human. You're connecting with people. I think usually, I mean, I tend to think that it's really easy for those selling to sales because sales, that's what you do. So you're way more familiar with your ICP. But for those of us selling to technical people or else, sometimes it gets more challenging. But then again, when you get to the basics, human being, enjoy, smile, take a deep breath, have a conversation. If it's relevant, amazing. If not, maybe the next one. I can represent you some,
Oh man, I wish like the amount of like just chill energy that I feel from you when you talk about this. I hope everybody else is gonna feel the same way. But like that's probably the when I started feeling very loose and chill in my role as a seller. I just that's when I started having fun and actually enjoying the process, and I feel like you enjoy the process very much.
Quota aside, I mean, regardless of hitting quota or not, if you do not enjoy it, eventually you're gonna be out of there, or to another position, or to another industry, or another role. So what's the point? I mean, we're supposed to have fun anything we do, especially at work.
Totally right. Okay, who is in your mind best, let's say SDR or sales creator to follow?
So I do enjoy very much Salman Muddin and what's his name, and Landon Mayer, but I do try to learn from the new guys a lot. I mean, I try to not be a follower, but just to learn from what's out there, new guys posting new stuff, and just get the feeling. Because usually, I mean, again, as we have our own background, we're used to one style. So every single creator will always have his own style, despite trying to change and switch. So it's helpful learning from those in the field.
Nice. That's probably the best answer I've got so far. Cool. What is your favorite, let's say, outbound sales channel?
The phone.
Phone. Got it.
Yeah. Nothing with the phone.
Got it. Speaking of which, in that case, what is your, let's say, favorite cold call opener or like go-to cold call opener that you use?
Sometimes I use one of those. I know in the States they really like give me my 30 seconds or that stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, I tried it back then, but it doesn't really work for me. I'm like, what's up? How are you? Just introduce yourself nicely. Do not start with, my name is Yair from Checkpoint Calling. Don't be a call center. Do not do that ever, ever, ever. Unless you work in a call center. Don't be a call center.
Even then.
Yeah, I hear you. But just be open. If it's relevant, is it bad for me to ask how is your day doing if we're not friends yet? How terrible is that? Do I need to interrupt your pattern and to break you out of your... No. Hello, how are you? I mean, you can of course A/B test and try different stuff. Of course, I'm not saying don't. Definitely put your own percentages and play and learn from your own experience. Yes, but keep it human. That was my point.
Okay. That's nice. That's really cool. Well, okay, that brings us really to the end of this episode. Yair, you've been an amazing guest. I hope it was worth 43 minutes and counting. How was your impression?
Very good. I'm just thinking that it's a pity I only have juice instead of a beer because we really are chilling together.
Yeah. I think a beer next time would actually be better than yeah. I had half a cup of coffee, so awesome, man. Like you've been an amazing guest. I think I've learned from you a lot. I think our audience is gonna learn even more. So thank you for sharing your perspective. Thank you for sharing how you're building and growing your team, and being an inspirational leader now for everybody out there. So I appreciate you, and yeah, thank you very much.